good, YouTube? It's your boy 2K the God, my man Sess. Welcome to the most controversial show on YouTube, The Gods of Boxing Talk. Now, for this segment, we want to talk about the fights that happened this past weekend. Kind of want to shed light on some cats that aren't really talked about in a division that's not really talked about. We know a couple fights happened before, a couple weekends back. You know, Manny Pacquiao, Jesse Vargas. A lot of these fights, we don't really want to fucking talk about them, especially a guy like Manny Pacquiao, because he's already taken too much of the spotlight as it is. Everybody knows that fight was a fucking shutout. In my opinion, it was not close. Manny Pacquiao looked like shit. If he gets in the ring with Floyd Mayweather, he gets beat worse than he did last time. If he gets in the ring with Terrence Crawford looking the way he did against Jesse Vargas, he'll possibly get knocked the fuck out. Exactly. Hey. So there's my damn post-fight on Pacquiao Vargas. Now, let's move on to one of the best fights that I thought happened this weekend that a lot of people didn't even really know was going on. Let's face it, Jamie McDonnell, he's a champion at the 118-pound division, but he's not really a big name in the sport. He's really known by, the British fans, and even a lot of the British fans, he's not really their favorite fighter, per se. Mm-hmm. But the fight against LIBORIO Solis was actually the best fight of this weekend. It was an excellent fight. It was action-packed. The motherfuckers went toe-to-toe, which is one thing that I hated about McDonnell, going toe-to-toe with a guy that he has a fucking 6-inch height advantage and a 3-inch reach advantage. Exactly, P. Like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? But he went toe-to-toe with him. It was an excellent fight. The controversy here were the scorecards at the end. I've been seeing a lot of people talking about this fight. A lot of people had the fight a close draw. Maybe McDonnell winning by a round. Solis winning by a round or maybe more. The scorecards turned in were respectively 116-112, 115-113, which is it's in the range. It's believable. And 117-111. That's the fuckery right there. All for Jamie McDonnell. Now, before I break it down, I'm going to let my man Sess get on here and let everybody know what he thought of this fight and who he had winning this fight. Let him know, fam.
And you know what? First off, like you said, it was a very good fight. Solis came out firing.
Yeah.
It was so funny to see this little bitty dude, coming at this. A guy that, like you said, has a 6-inch height advantage and a 3-inch reach advantage. Yep. And that didn't stop Solis from doing anything that he wanted to do. At times, I actually seen him beating beating McDonnell to the jab.
Yep.
And he would press McDonnell up against the ropes and just beat him up. But before I get all the way started, I did have the fight. I know I may catch a lot of slack for this, but I did have the fight a draw. I had it a draw, or
you don't get no slack for that. For what? No slack anyway. Why would you get that?
Word. Or I could see Solis winning by a round, or maybe even 2 rounds. But on my scorecard, I had a draw. I had Solis dominating the first half of the fight. He did a very good job of closing that distance. Like I said, he beat McDonnell to the jab at points, he did. But he did a lot of very, very good work when he would press McDonnell up against the ropes and just let his hands go. Or he would take away the distance from McDonnell and just land whatever he wanted to land when they were in the middle of the ring. So I definitely had him winning the first half of the fight, where Solis started to kind of make me, bring me closer toward the middle, was in the later rounds. Yeah. He actively slowed down.
Yes, he did.
punch output stopped, or it started to decrease a little bit, and he started to look more defensive than he did offensive.
Yeah.
You know, and McDonnell began to control some of the tempo of those rounds, whereas in the first half of the fight, McDonnell couldn't take a fucking breather. I mean, Solis was just on top of him at all moments.
Marcos McDonough.
Yeah, exactly. Man, that's what it looked like. That first round actually looked like Floyd versus Maidana. Now, not in terms of, skill set.
Hey, are you saying McDonald's like Floyd Mayweather, dog?
No, hell no. Hell no. No, just in terms of if the viewers out there remember when Maidana had Floyd up against the ropes, he was just letting his hands go, and that was Solis. He was letting his hands go, but if you look back at that first round, McDonnell has his body turned, and he's ducking and sneaking in these little fucking body shots. They were beautiful.
Yeah.
But Solis's work rate in that first round was crazy.
Yeah.
But like I said, toward the end of the fight, man, he just started to slow down, and I started comparing that. And I'm like, wait a minute. He looks like he's getting a little tired, and he looks like those early investments to the body by McDonnell are starting to pay dividends a little bit. And absolutely, man, the 12th round was the round that I wish Solis would have just came out there and just went for it all. I wish he would have fought the 12th round like he fought the first round. That's all I needed to see for me to defend. He won, But I gave the 12th round to McDonnell. I thought that Solis was just trying to make it through the 12th round. He was fighting at points. But again, I just thought McDonnell came alive a little bit. Also, another reason why I had this fight closer than many is because McDonnell's body of work. After that first half, that motherfucker was working up and down. He was going to the shorter man's body, and he was landing some good body shots. Whereas Solis was pure head. I mean, the whole fight. Yeah. He was slipping little body shots here and there. He would, ring something up, but he was just all head, just headhunting the whole time.
Yep.
But great fight though, man. I enjoyed watching this fight, but again, if some people want to call it a robbery, I understand where they're coming from. But in my book, I would have liked to see Solis win, but I honestly had it a draw. So,
well,
it is what it is.
My scorecard is in. You know what I'm saying? Let the announcer speak.
Yep.
2K to God had this fight 115, 113.
Okay.
And the new. That's what they should have said.
Yeah.
Solis won this damn fight. Okay. I could give somebody McDonnell winning 115, 113. I have no problem with that because at a certain point in this fight, I believe you alluded to, or you talked about it earlier. If you said it just what you just said right now, I'm not sure, but in the middle rounds, those were swing rounds. I mean, we're talking like 8, 9, 10. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Even 11. I gave 11 to Solis, but you could possibly get that to McDonnell because of his work rate. Round 11 looked like round 12. McDonnell just got hit with more right hands in round 11 than he did in round 12.
Yes.
Yep. So 8, 9, 10, 11, all swing rounds. At one point in this fight, I had McDonnell up. And I had McDonnell up when one of the main commentators was like, there's no way you could have McDonnell winning this fight. And this is a British commentator.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He was like, there's no way at this point McDonnell can be up. No matter how you're seeing this fight or how the fight is playing out, you got to have Solis up at least by a round or two. That's what he kept saying. And I'm like, nah, shit, I got McDonnell up. And the other two guys that were with him, they had to fight a draw at that point in time. So, I mean, It was an excellent fight. McDonnell, this is a guy who made the fight harder than he should have.
Absolutely.
His first loss, I can't remember the guy's name, but he had 12 losses. He had like 8 wins and 12 losses. That was McDonnell's first loss back in 2007. That fight, if you go back and look at that fight and then watch this one, it is very reminiscent of the fact that he makes fights harder than he has to. Dude, you're 5'10". You have a 72-inch reach. Your fucking opponent was 5'4" with a 69-inch reach. Step back, pump the jab, which is what you did right here, for real. Pump the jab and just wait for this motherfucker. He had no other option but to apply pressure. But if you don't have any footwork like McDonnell didn't, this motherfucker kept backing up against the ropes. Much like Jose Pedraza does. Much like Amir Khan does. They continually back up against the fucking ropes. And it kills me. Dog, jabs, throw combinations, start off with the jab, then turn them. Keep the fight in the middle of the fucking ring. Like, he turned them. Says he probably turned them like 3 fucking times, B. 3 times. And it was when his back was up against the ropes. He was like, oh, shit, I got to get off of here. Let me turn him. You know what I'm saying? And then another thing that was killing me, yes, the jab is your most basic asset. It is the starting point of everything offensive in boxing.
Yes,
it should be,
absolutely.
right? But when your opponent is timing you to the point where he's coming over your jab with his own jab, you need to mix it up. He kept going like this. When he do that, well, shit, old dude was like, give me that, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Then a lot of times he's moving forward. The jab's there. He may eat the jab, but he comes over with this. It's not a straight right hand, but it was like a looping overhand right. He landed that shit continuously over McDonnell's jab, man. So
that was Solis's money punch. I'm sorry, but
absolutely,
that's a good point.
I think that's how he cut him, or made him bleed anyway from the nostrils in the first or second round. So, the one thing that I kept yelling was like, dude, start off with the straight right, then move laterally. And he did it one time. I think it was in like round 7 or 9. The motherfucker was standing there. He said, then he dipped to the right. I was like, there you go. Do it again. And he never did it again. You know what I'm saying? A guy like Solis with that type of disadvantage in his height and his reach, and he's a very aggressive guy. Like, he's trying to push you up against the ropes so he can bang your body so you don't have any type of movement. Right? A guy like that, you gotta utilize the jab with combination punching and turn him. Now, towards the end of the fight, which is where McDonnell won the majority of the rounds, he started doing that, but he wasn't turning him still. He was still backing up, and that got him in trouble with the right hand more so than it did in the beginning of the fight. But his work rate made it look like he actually was winning those rounds. Okay? That's where the judges, I see the judges, the guy 117, 111, I don't know what the fuck he was watching. You know what I'm saying? That's absolute ridiculous. 116, 112, that guy, I think he saw McDonald's work rate. Excuse me, I said McDonald's and shit. McDonald's work rate. His work rate. He saw his work rate from round 8 to 12, and he probably gave him those rounds. Or not all of them, but, the majority of those rounds. So, it was a good fight. One other thing before we move to the next one. McDonnell, dog, move your goddamn head. Please, bro. Hey, you are a basic boxer. You are the pinnacle of what a boxer is supposed to do. Start off everything with the jab. Okay? But you have no head movement. You have no lateral movement. You only move backwards. You like to keep your back on the ropes. I mean, you may not like to do that, but in this fight, it looked like you love doing that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Fell in love with them ropes.
Yeah, I mean, my man was just backing you up. He'll use the jab to back you, and then he'll throw the right hand. That'll back you up even further. As soon as you're on the ropes, my man just eats to the body. I don't even think he went to the head whenever he had him up on the ropes, maybe once or twice, but you know, mid combination. But it was mainly body work up against the ropes. Like, that shit remind me of Frankie Gavin. He does that shit a lot too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and Anthony Crolla, he does that as well. Back up against the ropes, go to the body. You know what I'm saying? And another thing, one thing I did like, I know I said it's the last thing, but one thing I did like, Jamie McDonnell, God damn. He would throw the jab, and he'd double up on that bitch. And when he doubled up on it, Solis would take a step back. And when he took that step back, McDonnell would come with a straight right hand. That landed, that combination right there landed 100% of the time in the fight, bro. But he didn't do it enough. He only did it in the latter rounds. If he would have did that more so in the beginning from the beginning of the fight and then turned him, kept the fight in the middle of the ring, McDonnell could have won at least 9 rounds in this fight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, it should have been not taking anything away from Solis, but with that height and that reach, it should have been an easier fight.
Easier, yeah. Much easier. He has the style to stop a guy. Now, I'm not talking about knockout, but I mean stop his offensive pace. A guy like Solis, what he was doing in the ring, he has a style to do it. He just doesn't have the skills, okay? And that was a problem. Now, they're talking about the whole, pretty much the beginning of the fight, the commentators are talking about McDonnell was a big guy at 118. He's still the WBA champion. They're talking about him moving up to 122, possibly fighting Scott Quigg, of course. Of course. They didn't mention the jawbreaker. You know what I'm saying? They ain't mentioned the jawbreaker, Sess, because they already know. Good. And McDonnell got in the ring with the motherfucking jawbreaker. For you motherfuckers that don't know who the jawbreaker is, let's get him Oregon down. Yeah. You got to do it slower than that, B. It's got to.
Oh, my bad.
Like, he going to give him a $150 real slow. You know what I'm saying? And just let the motherfucker bleed out. That is a terrible fight. That's why they didn't say his name. They said Scott Quigg. That's a better fight for him, but I still think he loses that fight.
I think so too.
You know, congratulations, Jamie McDonnell. I thought you lost the fight, but congratulations on retaining your belt. Interested in see what he does later on in the future.
Yeah.
Next, let's go ahead and go to probably the second best fight of the weekend. Jason Sosa, y'all remember him, right?
Hey.
He's the WBA champion at 130 pounds. He beat the shit out of ESPN magnet, the face of ESPN boxing at one time, Mr. Javier Fortuna. I remember watching Javier Fortuna, dog, and on ESPN, I was like, damn, this motherfucker fighting on here again? Like, when he gonna get to a major network? When somebody gonna pick the nigga up, put him on HBO, Showtime, put the nigga on Cartoon Network? But he keeps fighting on fucking ESPN Friday Night Fight. Dog, he fought every Friday, B. Every Friday he was fighting, B. Every Friday. The nigga fought 4 fights a month on every Friday, B.
Damn.
So when he did step up and he wasn't on that Friday Night Fight panel, or at least that network, motherfucker went to sleep. And a fight he was winning though. It was a fight he was winning against Jason Sosa, but he went to sleep. So that same guy, also the guy that had a very, very, very controversial draw against Nicholas Walters. Nicholas Walters, in my opinion, beat the dust off this boy, which makes Nicholas Walters even look better than what he already looks, given how Jason Sosa has done very well since that controversial draw. He fought Steven Smith, who in my opinion is the second best of the 4 Smith brothers. You got Callum Smith, you got Steven at number 2, you got the motherfucker that Canelo punched in the body and made him curl up and shit like a frying piece of bacon. What the fuck is his name? Beefy.
Liam Smith.
Yeah, whatever. Him. And then Paul Smith, probably the wax of the Smith brothers. This motherfucker been bounced around and shit all over the super middleweight division. You know what I'm saying? So he's probably the second best of the 4 Smith brothers. Very game fighter. I thought he gave Jose Pedraza some trouble when they fought. And and he came into this fight looking to give Jason Sosa some trouble. I'm gonna go ahead and pass it to my man Sess, man. How did you break this fight down?
Man, another, like you said earlier, another entertaining fight. Both guys were very game.
Yeah.
Jason Sosa came into the fight like he was the champion, and he wasn't just gonna give his title away to nobody.
Word.
You were gonna have to come take it. And man, shit, Steven Smith came in there like he wanted to take it. From the jump, what I seen was Jason Sosa was just amped up. He was very game. He came out. He's a strong little motherfucker too, man. He's not a weak guy. He's got good leverage, and he's actually got nice little thump on his punches as well. And man, he was he was putting this shit together against Steven Smith. Not to take anything from Steven Smith because he was just his game and he wanted it, but some things happened early on in the fight that made the fight a bit more difficult from a scoring perspective. On what's his name, Steven Smith's behalf.
Right.
He was playing catch up. From I think it was the second round when he got dropped. That was a 10-8 round. And
it was the third round, B.
Third round, okay. The third round he got dropped. That was a 10-8 round. Then he got cut. I believe at another point in the fight, his eye started leaking and shit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he just couldn't win for losing, man. Like I said, you get dropped, you get up, you still fight, and then you get cut, and it's a pretty good cut because he was bleeding pretty good.
Word.
But man, like I said, no, I take my hat off to Steven Smith. He was game. He tried very hard. I actually liked his skill set. He was getting off some sharp punches, and I believe he hurt Jason Sosa in one of the mid to later rounds. He hurt Sosa, and he had Sosa backing up, and then, Sosa grabbed him and was kind of able to shake it loose, but he never really had Jason Sosa out of this fight at any point, even after hurting him. It wasn't one of those punches where he hurt Sosa and then he was going to be able to jump on him and finish him.
Yeah.
It wasn't a punch like that. It was more of just a good shot. Sosa recovered and just went right back to work. The one thing that I do like about Jason Sosa is he doesn't shy away from working on the inside or working on the outside. You can't really pick what Jason Sosa's going to do, because he can fight on the inside and he can fight on the outside. This fight, to me, he elected to be more of an inside guy. He was countering Steven Smith a lot. He was getting off a nice right hand, and he just looked like the more dominant fighter throughout the entire fight. I had it 9 rounds to, wait, let me look.
I think you told me 9 rounds to 3.
9-3.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep. I had it 9 rounds to 3 for Jason Sosa. I just did not think Steven Smith was able to really do anything outside of landing that good right hand that he landed. He just wasn't able to do anything else with Jason Sosa.
Yeah.
But like I said, very entertaining fight, man. High intensity fight. Both guys wanted it really bad.
Yeah.
It's just Jason Sosa is a much better fighter than I think people expected.
Yeah.
I think when a lot of guys heard he was gonna fight Nicholas Walters, they kind of looked at him like he about to get dusted.
Yeah, slaughter.
And and even though Nicholas Walters did his thing, it just shows you Jason Sosa is a game motherfucker, man. He's problems for anybody.
Yeah.
Because of what he can do. Like I said, if he wants to fight you on the outside, he'll fight you on the outside. If he wants to fight you on the inside, he'll fight you on the inside. And he's a strong dude, like I said, that can thump.
Yeah.
So, very good fight, man. Very, very good fight. I said earlier, I'm hoping that the champions in this division really start going at each other. I'd like to see Sosa and Pedraza fight each other. Pedraza has the IBF strap.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to see that fight.
That's a nice one.
So it pretty much right now for Jason Sosa, I think the sky's the limit for him, man.
I like to see Sosa and Lomachenko. You know what I'm saying? I think
Yeah,
that's a style other than Orlando Salido when he's applying pressure. That's a style that I think Lomachenko would need to have more experience against. The rematch against Lomachenko would have been great for him because, as we all know, if you bully Lomachenko, you don't allow him to dance around the ring. Shit, even throwing some roughhouse tactics, that gets him off his game. So he needs more experience with those type of guys because he's only 9-1 right now or something like that.
Yeah, I think so. 6-1. Is it even 9-1 or
I don't
is
know. I don't know what it is.
6-1 or something?
Point is, he's still very early in his career, even though he's a 2-time champion. When he starts fighting more and more and more, he's going to be seeing more and more and more of those type of alpha male, fully aggressive roughhouse tactics using type of opponents. So I think Jason Sosa would be a good matchup for him. I also like the Pedraza fight, like you said. I actually probably want to see that fight more because I need to see Jose Pedraza get his ass whooped after they robbed Edna Chariot of that title back in March of 2000, I believe, 15. So that's a fight that I need to see that as well. But looking at Jason Sosa, man, he kind of reminds me when he's applying pressure. He reminds me of a 130-pound version of Adrian Granados, who is the guy that knocked out Amiri Imam at 140 and who's getting ready to fight Adrian Broner, I believe, February?
I believe so.
Yeah. So, he reminds me of him when he's applying pressure. Stephen Smith, he's the epitome of a boxer with so much heart but doesn't have the skills to put that heart to use.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Very game opponent. I love the fact that he's in there. I mean, you can knock him down 18 times. You can cut every piece of skin on his face. He's still gonna try to finish the fight. He has a nice jab. He applies persistent pressure. He did that against Jose Pedraza. Pedraza is the type of guy that likes to be on his back foot, even though he can't fight on his back foot, much like Amir Khan finds his way on his back foot, even though he can't fight off of that. And Stephen Smith, later on in that fight, towards the middle rounds, he started pushing Pedraza back with his jab and his aggressiveness, and that's how he actually gave him a little bit of trouble. Now, Pedraza, of course, won that fight hands down, but Stephen Smith was in the fight. It wasn't a blowout, much like this fight was. But, that was a good fight, man. 2 game opponents. I'm interested to see how where both of them fare in the future.
Absolutely.
Next, let's go ahead and move to the wackest fight.
Man, okay.
Foregone conclusion, Danny Garcia versus Ryan Selka Part 2. You know what I'm saying?
Man, for
in
real.
this scenario, at least a guy in his division didn't already knock this Rod Selka out. The first Rod Selka. You know what I'm saying? The other Rod Selka, he came up from 135, was ranked like number 76 at lightweight.
Come on.
Moved up to 140. At least nobody at 140 had knocked Rod Selka out before Danny Garcia fought him. In this case, Rod Selka Jr., you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say the nigga name. Rod Selka Jr. He was knocked out by Errol Spence before this. Come on, man. But look, I don't have too much of a problem with this fight because the Keith Thurman fight is happening, in March of next year? That fight is supposed to happen. It's signed, sealed, and delivered. Okay? So as long as that fight happens, I'm okay with Danny Garcia fighting Rod Selka Jr. Now, of course, I didn't watch this fight. I was too busy. I don't know. I was doing something. I don't even know. The point is, the television was not on this fight for a reason. But my man Sess watched it.
I watched it.
Sess, how did you break this fight down, man?
Man, this fight was bullshit. If anybody has ever seen the movie Half Baked with Dave Chappelle, and he was in like this drug users anonymous meeting, and this little skinny dude stands up. Dave Chappelle is like, he's like, my name is Thurgood, and I'm addicted to marijuana. And this little skinny black dude stands up and he's like, "That's some bullshit. You know, you in here for marijuana." You know, that's how I felt, man. I was literally like, you know, this is another bullshit fight, man, from Danny Garcia. Like, I'm so sick and tired of this dude, man. Like you said, 2K, the Keith Thurman fight is right around the corner. It's March of 2017. I'm looking forward to that fight. The only thing is, if Danny Garcia beats Keith Thurman, oh my God.
Talk about title hoarding like a motherfucker.
Oh, what?
Damn,
yes.
nigga.
Title hoarding. I mean, what else? Cherry pick. Oh my God. Man, it's gonna be so fucking bad, man, if Thurman loses this fight. So let me go ahead and get into the fight. Again, the only thing I liked was Danny Garcia is a full-fledged 147-pound fighter. He probably should have been
long time ago.
I was just gonna say that. I was just gonna say he probably should have been fighting at 147 a long time ago because his body is all the way filled out. When he first came to 47, his body was already filled out. So he's done nothing but get even more acclimated to that weight. That was the only good thing about this fight was Danny Garcia does look good physically at 147 pounds. But I really can't go off of any of what he did because he did it against such a low-tier opponent. You know, I want to say his reflexes look good. I want to say his power looked good. But I really can't say that because it wasn't against anybody. You know, Errol Spence Jr. knocked out Samuel Vargas when he was a prospect, I believe. He was on his way to contender status.
It was before he fought the Chris Van Heerdens and shit.
Exactly. I believe it was before the Phil Greco fight. So this Vargas was in Errol Spence's way on, like I said, before he even became on his way to becoming the number one contender.
Stepping stone.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, thanks, bro. Appreciate that knockout, my nigga.
Yeah. Appreciate it, bro. You know, but it's bullshit, man. Like I said, I can't go off of any of what Danny did because it was fucking whack, man. And that's been my problem with Danny Garcia. I actually was a fan of this guy when he was coming up because when he was coming up, he was taking out at least some cats that had a name behind him.
Yeah.
But
he's living off that shit, though, man.
Exactly. And that's the problem. They're living off of what Danny did in the past, and they're promoting and putting forth a lot of fuckery. You know, when I see Danny Garcia come to the ring with a purge mask on, it fucking disgusts me because it's almost as if he's throwing it in our faces. Like, yeah, I'm about to purge on this motherfucker. You know, yeah. He ain't nothing. And I know he's not nothing. You know, that's the reason why I'm able to, you know, wear this purge mask and do all this other. But, man, it just pisses me. It pisses me off, man. It really does. But, for me to be fair, I guess, his reflexes, they were pretty solid. You know, there was nothing that Samuel Vargas could do to Danny Garcia. Danny, again, throws very, very, very wide punches. I mean, everything he does, man, it's like a wide, crispy shot, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
You know, the shit is so wide, but he's still turning his fist over, and he's still getting real good leverage on it.
Yep.
You know, so it's a wide, crispy shot that you really don't teach in the gym. You don't really teach that. You know, that's just some shit that I think has stuck with Danny, you know, since maybe throughout the amateurs and through the professional ranks because it's worked. You know, the one thing that I've always said about boxers is boxers are prone and they're used to seeing certain types of punches. Okay, so when you come out with some shit that's a little wide or a little unorthodox, a lot of them tend to judge their distance wrong when they're trying to get out of the way of those type of shots because cats don't typically throw those type of shots in boxing. You know, everything is straight, everything is crispy, everything is between 3 and 6 inches. You know what I mean? Depending on where the guy is in front of you. So Danny's one of those guys that'll throw a 12-inch punch. You know, that should be just extra wide, 12 inches, but it finds a way to land. You know what I mean? So I'll give him his props on that. You know, that's one of the things that he was able to do to guys like Amir Khan and Zab Judah, you know, coming up. And he's pretty much taking that with him to 47. You know, the thing is, when he fights Keith Thurman, and I'm very intrigued by that fight. I'm very interested in that fight because both of these guys throw wide punches. You know, I'm interested in that fight because I want to see what is it going to come down to. You know,
Keith tried to give you a hint. Keith mentioned that Danny Garcia is too flat-footed.
Oh, okay. And you know what? Hey, that could work into Keith's favor. But at the same time, it's something that Keith does that can work in Danny's favor. And that is jumping in. He jumps in too fucking much. It's almost as if Keith Thurman is actually charging up before he throws a punch. And then he, you know, the one thing that I will say about Keith, when he jumps in, he throws more than 3 punches. He's like, you know, but at the same time, we all know something we can't take away from Danny. His timing is impeccable. Yeah. Go back to the Amir Khan fight. He timed Khan. People want to call it a no-look hook or whatever, and
Bro, that was Magic Johnson at his finest, nigga. Come on now, bro. That motherfucker threw that no-look Magic Johnson hook, B. That shit even rhymes, nigga.
Yo, I think there was a method to Danny's madness when he threw the hook. Now, I don't even want to get into it because I don't even want to take up for this motherfucker, you know, because I think it's bullshit. But the fight was what it was. I think he got him out of there in the 7th round or anywhere from the 7th to the 7th round. He dropped him pretty early on in the fight. It was just bullshit, man. More bullshit from Danny Garcia. They put this fight in Philly because they knew they couldn't sell it anywhere else.
Nope.
You know, so it was bullshit. Before I wrap it up, what I do want to say, I want to make this point. Look, boxing. Look, okay, PBC and just boxing in general. Let's cut this WWE bullshit, man.
Real talk.
Let's cut this dudes getting in the ring, talking trash. And, man, fuck all that, man. That's not what boxing is about. You know, when it's genuine, it's genuine. And I love when it's genuine because that's how I like for competition to be. But when it's scripted, man, keep that shit in wrestling, man. That shit don't got no place in boxing, man. That shit was so scripted. They jump in the ring and they all in each other's face and they talk. Man, that was whack to me, man. Like I kind of cringed when I seen it. I was just like, ugh, turn from this shit. You know? So
that shit ain't get nobody hype. Well, it got the fanboys hype, but niggas like you know me, such as you and such as myself, we just like.
Yeah, I mean that's all I did. I was just like, the fuck is this? Like,
Word.
Man, come on, man, get out of here with that shit. So, like I said, if I understand building this fight up, but it's just so many other ways to do it, man. That shit look too much like wrestling to me. Word. But it is what it is.
It is what it is. It is a fight that a lot of people say that Andre Ward was forced by HBO to fight Sergey Kovalev next weekend. I believe Danny Garcia was forced by PBC and Al Heyman to take this Keith Thurman fight because Angel Garcia already told us their blueprint for success. He said, and he actually used Keith Thurman's name in his fucking statement. Why fight a Keith Thurman when we can fight a Rod Selka for millions? The nigga said that. So I believe he's actually forced into this fight. You know, not only by PBC and Al Heyman, but the fans. He knows the fans are eating his ass up. You know, every time I see a Danny Garcia picture, I see a big-ass red cherry right next to his motherfucking ass. Exactly. And rightfully so. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? So I think the fans closed in on him. I think his manager now, Heyman, closed in on him. I think his father's mouth, the shit that he said,
Yeah.
closed in on him. Now
Yep.
he's in a
Yep.
fight of his life against a young, hungry, undefeated champion. And it's
Yep.
truly a 50-50 fight, B. I can't wait to see it in March,
Absolutely.
man. I
Me
can't wait to
neither.
see it.
Me neither.
We are aware that there is another fight, Malik Scott and Luis Ortiz, but we will actually make that a separate segment because there's a lot of things that I want to talk about Luis Ortiz following that fight, and we're running short on time for this one. So I'm gonna go ahead in this segment right here. YouTube, do what you do in the comment section and be real. Let us know what you think about all these fights we talked about. This is real talk for real fans. 1.